This is the Jocko Unraveling podcast, episode 23, with Darryl Cooper and me, Jocko Willink. And it is currently the last day of September, and we are reflecting, looking back at August and September. What just happened? What just happened with regards to this Afghanistan pullout? We see the Afghan military collapse. We see the Afghan government collapse. We see $80 million worth of weapons, vehicles, equipment, 3,000 Humvees, 32 Mi-17 helicopters, 3 C-130s, 43 MD-530 helicopters, 33 Blackhawks, 23 A-29 light attack planes, 10 AC-208 planes, 20,000 grenades, somewhere around 10,000 small arms weapons, 1,400 RPGs, and, in my opinion, perhaps the worst of all, between 10,000 and 15,000 sets of night vision goggles, all left behind. And on top of that, during this pullout, we had 13 servicemen and women who were killed. Just an unmitigated disaster. And it got me to thinking, and since you and I didn't do any work during this, I ended up doing that video of what I would say if I was president. And there's two things that pushed me to make that video of what I would say if I was president. The first one was seeing the Iwo Jima reenactment by the Taliban, fully kitted up in American gear. So I saw that, and I had the sort of visceral, anger, emotional reaction to that. And I had to put that in check, kind of. I said, look, don't be emotional. These are just idiots. This is just what they're doing. They're trying to throw it in our face. They're trying to get to, trying to make us emotional. Don't react. So I didn't. But as soon as I started seeing these caches of weapon systems, vehicles, planes, I thought to myself, hold on a second here. What the fuck did we just do? It's hard enough to fight the Taliban or Al-Qaeda when they've got the advantage of not having any ROEs, when they don't care about friendly fire, when they don't care about civilian casualties, when they can hit and run, when they don't have to hold any ground, when they can fade into the night, when they can use our ROEs against. Never mind the fact that they don't have ROEs, but they use our ROEs against us. So it's bad enough to fight an enemy like that. But now we have an enemy that has the same weapon systems as we have. Never mind the helicopters. Never mind the armored vehicles. What about just seeing a Mark 48 machine gun and knowing the effectiveness of that weapon, and then there's a laser mounted on it, and the Mujahideen fighters are wearing night vision? So at that point is when I said, I need to talk about what we should be doing right now as a country. Now that I'm looking back a little bit, like I said, it's the end of September right now, and you hear some of the testimony taking place, some of the excuses being made, some of the thought process that went into this or did not go into this. And it makes you start to wonder, makes me start to wonder, have we forgotten how to win? Because a freaking Lance Corporal in the Marine Corps could have planned this operation better. No offense against Lance Corporals in the Marine Corps. They're squared away. They're awesome. But they don't have a bunch of strategic experience. They don't even have a bunch of operational experience. But you know what they do understand? How to plan a mission. And a Lance Corporal that had been in the Marine Corps for 6 months could have done a better job planning this than what we saw. What'd you think, DC?
There's two questions. Is like, one is what happened, and two is like what is happening overall. With the Department of Defense, sure, but like our overall system of government right now, where something like this could happen and then be responded to in the way that it has been. I mean, we've got not just politicians. I mean, we've got journalists, people who like theoretically in a situation like this should be the ones we expect to hold lying politicians accountable for something like this, framing it as an extraordinary success. It's the miracle of Dunkirk all over again. It's just extraordinary how we managed to pull off. It's insulting. These people are a joke. And none of their excuses make sense. With people with military and government experience like we have, it's completely insulting knowing that they are providing excuses that are meant for people who don't have that experience, who don't know any better, and they sort of hear things and it sounds complicated and they just have to sort of accept what they're told because they don't know any better. When they tell us that, we thought that the Afghan security forces were well trained and ready to go, trained up to American standards, and ready to fight the Taliban. General Lloyd Austin at the time was in charge of CENTCOM until like 2017. Don't tell me he didn't have some idea what was going on with the Afghan forces. That is horseshit, and it's insulting to hear it. As you go through the timeline of how this whole thing unfolded, it becomes clear throughout that you asked, like, have we forgotten how to win? That winning was not the priority here. I mean, forget about winning. We already lost the war. We're being chased out of the country at this point, But I think you go through it, and it becomes perfectly clear that preserving the lives of, let's just call them what they were, tens of thousands of American and Allied hostages. That's what was going on here. We had a hostage situation, where the people that we had been told were so bad, were so evil, were so barbaric, these Taliban, that it is imperative that we spill American blood to defeat them and keep them out of power in Afghanistan. And we spend trillions of dollars and let our people be killed and maimed to fight them because they're that dangerous, and people who we've been killing, whose sons and cousins and brothers and fathers we've been killing like over the years, they're all of a sudden in complete and total control of tens of thousands of Americans and allied civilians and
the country.
We're just sort of told throughout the entire thing that, like, we've been in talks with them. And just think about the fact that, like, as all this unfolded, the White House press secretary was on vacation and didn't come back. She went on her vacation and got back when it was done. This is a situation, you got tens of thousands of Americans trapped with an enemy that we have been fighting for 20 years. They're still over there right now. One of the things you go look in go look up Google, Americans trapped in Afghanistan, Americans still stuck in Afghanistan, and so forth. And the whole first page and a half, 2 pages are all links from 2 weeks ago because nobody's really been looking into it, I guess. No, there's still Americans over there. There's actually still American children from here in San Diego, from down in Chula Vista, who are stuck over there, who can't get home, who's got there's a father over here whose wife and their 4 daughters went to visit family back in April. They're stuck over there right now, and he's like, these are American citizens we're talking about, and they're still over there, and somehow that's not an emergency. Somehow it's not an emergency, and let's just be perfectly honest, it is not an emergency to these people. It is not. It would become an emergency when it became a public relations problem and a political problem, but they made the calculation that they can get through this. That's just the way these people think. We are not led by statesmen. We are led by bureaucrats. We are led by narcissistic politicians who at best see their job as managing a system, that happens to be in place. Never mind that the outcome is a catastrophe, because nobody's responsible for the outcome. That nobody's responsible. And every one of these generals, these people, if they had any honor, they would have, these people would have resigned on their own, whether they were fired or not, if they had an ounce of honor after what's happened, especially after the suicide bombing. And when you read about how that whole day played out, but they can go up there and they can make the plausible case that oh no, I checked this box, I did that, I reported to this person, and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. And it's disgusting, and these people are a joke, and if, for all the strategic consequences and all of our reputational consequences around the world, I'll tell you the truth, I'm happy that we are out of that country because I don't trust these people to command or to direct American, men and women in dangerous places around the world right now. They better not come talk to us again about going into any other country where they're going to put our people at risk until this generation of leaders, the whole generation of them, I don't mean Republicans or Democrats, just this whole group of people who gave us Iraq, who gave us Afghanistan and managed it the way that it was managed, they all have to go. These people are all like 75, 80, 85 years old. They got to get the hell out of here. And they better not put our people in harm's way until they do. It's just, none of us should accept it.